Friday afternoon. Man, I know I don't want to start with a cringy, thank God it's Friday, TGIF.
But let's do it.
You know what? I'm kind of glad I'm kind of ready for...
TGIF, brother.
I'm kind of ready for a weekend. Like, this has been a crazy week.
Yeah.
There's been a lot going on.
I'm always ready for a weekend.
Yeah.
I'm always ready for that.
Well, I am as well, and we will get you to the weekend. We've got lots to talk about here to wrap up the week. We'll also, of course, get you that weekend forecast from Steve Templeton.
Yes.
Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. He'll join us here in about 40 minutes, so be ready for that, and we'll get you that weekend forecast, get you prepared for everything coming your way over the next couple of days. We've also got, of course, Gabe Pfeiffer from The Morning Show in the studio with us. He joins us every Friday to help get us across the finish line.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is.
Man, I love Friday.
Great to see you, buddy.
I
Me
really do.
too.
Great to see you, my friend.
Great to be here.
Yeah. I'm Tony Colombo. My partner, of course, is Katie Fitzpatrick. And how are you feeling today? This is one of those days where Katie and I literally have not talked to each other.
Yeah, well, we saw each other, but it was in a meeting.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, you're good, you're good. And Gabe came by and was like, so the show that I'm supposed to be on is in this meeting.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I'm in the studio,
Right.
so where is everybody?
Yeah, it was kind of amazing. I turned the corner. I hear both of your voices. I'm like, why am I going to the studio when you guys are back over here? Are we broadcasting from the meeting room now?
Yeah.
That's how it's going.
So I want to dive into some news stories. I want to look back at this crazy week and recap some of the big stories that happened throughout the week. Gabe, I always ask you this on a Friday afternoon. As we look back, what were some of the big stories of the week that you were particular? I mean, we had the Hunter Biden situation. We had more from
huge.
John Durham's testimony. We
Also
have the
huge.
submarine situation.
Actually, you just hit kind of like the major
Yeah.
stories that were on top of mine coming in here. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of the Hunter Biden thing especially is the one that gets me just because I didn't think my lack of faith in the government could be enhanced as much as it has in the last. It's like honestly, it's like remember back in the 80s and the 90s, we used to watch all these movies where there's like dedicated agents within the government who are looking out for us. You know, we had all of our FBI agents and CIA agents were all our heroes. From those
Everybody
kind of
wanted
movies.
to be them.
Everybody
when
wanted
they
to
grew
be
up.
them, exactly, because they're out there fighting the good fight, keeping the Ruskies away and keeping us out of nuclear war. That's what they were doing. They were protecting us all. But now, when I think of the FBI, I think of people saying, "Oh, a pee-pee tape, huh? Well, we'll investigate that." And then, it's like so you have video of him with crack rocks and guns and stuff. It's like, no big. That's what I see now, and my faith is crushed. It's crumbled.
And you know what? It's only because of people like us, outlets like News Talk STL, and members of the media that insist to talk about Hunter Biden, that was even one of the major stories of the week. If the media and if the mainstream media, to borrow a phrase, and the politicians in Washington, D.C. were to have their choice, that we wouldn't even be talking about Hunter. Like, it would just be
not.
buried. It would have, the submarine, and it maybe John Durham, you can't really avoid, but they, like...
John Durham wouldn't have
Of all the big
happened.
stories, the Hunter Biden one is probably the one that has the most impact on the United States, because we are talking about the president and the then vice president accepting millions of dollars to sell American influence on American policy. I mean, like, when you think about what story has the biggest impact, has the biggest potential, the biggest crime, of all of it, it's the Hunter Biden story. But it's the one that probably got least talked about in a busy week of news, because, and I have a little bit more about that, about how the lengths that the Democrats have gone to try to silence this and keep all of this information from the American people. So what should have been the biggest story of the week was kind of the bronze medalist, and only because of the insistence of stations like ours to not let it go away and keep it in the forefront.
And the other wild thing about it is, we've reduced, the Hunter Biden situation was reduced to a tax issue and a gun issue.
Yeah.
And, pleaded down to basically nothing.
Yeah.
There's going to be no jail time or anything like that. And it also portends the elimination of an investigation into his dealings with Joe Biden. So basically what the DOJ has said, what they've indicated is that I don't care what else you find, a congressional investigation committee, because they're going to keep looking. They're going to keep digging. They have subpoena power and stuff like that. They can probably extract more information so that we, the public, know the depths of the crime family and everything like that. But the DOJ has basically said, well, we don't care anymore. We're not going to look into it. So even if the Congress comes up with something that should by all means be investigated, DOJ has basically already preemptively said, well, you can send us the report over, but we get the final decision on whether to pursue charges or anything like that, and we're not going to.
And which I said from the very beginning that this was going to be. Remember, what Hunter Biden took a plea deal on was tax evasion and
a gun,
unlawful
possession
of a gun.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with the real story, the big crime.
Foreign influence peddling through the vice presidential
treason,
office.
essentially.
Essentially treason.
Yes, essentially treason by the vice president, who is now president, and his family, including Hunter Biden. None of that has anything to do with the plea deal that Hunter Biden took this week. And yet, as I predicted from the moment it happened,
he's like, nothing's going to happen.
They are trying to say, hey, look, about all of it, about anything that involves Hunter Biden. Hey, Hunter admitted his mistakes. He admitted his mistakes.
Turn his life around.
He said he was, he admitted his guilt on these things, and he's going to have his day in court, and he's going to be held accountable. It's over with, guys. It's all over with. Where it literally hasn't even been discussed. It's not even touched on by this plea deal.
Not at
all. But they are trying to sweep it all into one and say, well, what about Burisma, and what about the $5 million? Hey, look, Hunter, he admitted he came clean. He said he did wrong.
He's been adjudicated, and then
it has nothing to do with it.
And then of course they'll say, oh well, he's paid his debts to society, he paid back the taxes, and he's in probation over the gun charge. This is over. This is a nothing burger.
And we're also kind of making light of the tax charges. I mean,
both of the charges.
Here's a guy who, and he's probably done it a lot more than these 2 years.
Oh, gosh.
2017, 2018 are the years that are in the plea deal that he made millions of dollars in both of those years, millions of dollars, and
refused to pay taxes on it.
Claimed not and didn't pay any taxes, and then said he didn't make any money. So, and we're kind of even just brushing that off. That already is a big deal. That already is a problem. That this guy is gonna get a slap on the wrist for making millions of dollars and not paying his taxes. Is that okay? What everybody's been screaming about Donald Trump. We got to see Donald Trump's taxes. We got to see what if we find out that Donald Trump didn't pay taxes for 2 years criminally? Like, Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes because he has accountants finding the loopholes,
right,
and working through the law to make it happen.
Yeah.
If they had Donald Trump on charges like this, you think it would be swept under the rug?
Well, and then the irony should not be lost on you too about both of these two charges. These are Democrat causes. The rich paying their fair share,
right?
And gun control.
Totally.
Both of these things are there. You have Joe Biden sitting at a lectern lecturing us about pay your fair share, pay your fair share, and his son is not paying his fair share.
I said it this week. I said if only he would have paid his fair share, he could have resolved student loan debt, which is the other thing. Remember?
Yeah, the rich
just
are going to
tax the rich, and we can resolve student loan debt.
And then we can resolve student loan debt.
But
exactly.
Something else that makes me so upset, besides that awesome point, point is that we see Hunter Biden smiling, these pictures on Fox News.
Oh, yeah.
Smiling at the White House. He's in a
Proud
suit.
papa.
Proud Papa. Ireland. We went to Ireland. Oh my God, I stayed at Hampton Inn. I can't believe it. And then it's the same thing that Hunter is laughing in the face of us like nothing's ever going to happen to me. Exactly the same thing Hillary Clinton did with butter emails.
Yes.
They're trying to this should piss everybody off.
Yes.
Because they are laughing at the rest of us saying if we distract them enough to Trump and his family or whatever the case may be, Hunter Biden can still go to Ireland with his dad, probably on the taxpayer's dime, and Hillary Clinton can still make hats saying butter emails and laugh it off like it's a joke with all of the corruption that they've both caused.
Hey, look, they're exercising their privilege,
Yes, they are.
and right in our faces, and we're supposed to be cool with it, and their constituents are cool with it. I just saw some guy on Twitter saying, the best part about Hunter Biden, at this thing is how mad it makes the Republicans. So celebrating privilege to own the cons. So this is the world we live in.
There's more to the story. There's new information surrounding the whistleblowers and Hunter Biden. I want to get into that in just a few minutes. But while we're kind of looking at the week that was, Gabe, as a scientist, as an engineer, what do you make of the whole submarine tragedy?
Yeah, that's terrible. It's one of those tough situations where a lot of people had hopes that this group had made the types of innovations that you hope to see in any particular field, especially in like an engineering field, that they could do something so cool, have a vehicle so unique, being able to just let rich people do what rich people like to do and have adventures. It's basically the underwater version of your Virgin Galactic, right? It's like rich guys come together, they figure out some way so that other rich guys can have fun and they're going to make money that way. And in the midst of that, they're making innovations, they're making breakthroughs that eventually will kind of fall to the rest of us once the early adopters finance all the
and Dragon X and
exactly.
SpaceX. I mean,
and that's how that works. The rich people, they're the early adopters, they're the adventurous ones. They spend all of the money on the upfront stuff to get the research so that all of this stuff can be made affordable for the rest of us. That's how cars work. That's how TVs work. That's how the internet
capitalism
works. That's how capitalism works. So
that's how innovation works.
Exactly. So it was cool to see that, but in the midst of that, you either have something which in this case could have been either a tragic accident in that it's just something there was more of a mishap, or it could have been negligence. It could have been miscalculation. It
Do
could
you
have
see
been
negligence
a bad thing.
when you look at this?
It's impossible to tell at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Because. It was innovative. What they did was innovative in that other people did not do submersibles this way, deep sea submarines. They were not designed this way. They were not operated this way. And he the CEO in some interviews, he said as much that he was trying something new. He's like there are people who say that you don't do this way, and I did it, and here we are. However many years later, and we're operating. So maybe he made a breakthrough. Maybe he made some sort of legitimate innovation, and it just had a brief problem and an uncontrolled disassembly. Uncontrolled disassembly. Remember how they spoke about the SpaceX rocket?
I forgot they did that.
Stuff happens, in the midst of innovation.
Yeah.
But
but it sounds like he
tough.
at best was reckless, and at worst maybe negligent. That's kind of how I see it, and I don't have this. I don't look at it as with the educated eye that you look at it with. But as we learn more, it sounds like
this thing was built in 6 weeks.
He understood all of the things that you just said and the dangers that come along with that innovation, but the people that were getting on board weren't explained how dangerous or some of the true risks of the voyage were.
Well, the tendency is to think that, if the CEO gets on with me, I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
now,
That's
of course, I don't know what sort of testing regimes these things were put through. I don't know what. I mean,
Right.
the thing is, at sea, there are there's different legal ramifications. You don't have to register with a national body the way you would with the FAA if you're doing something in space.
Okay.
You can pretty much put a cover over a bathtub and throw it in the ocean and charge people, and that's legal.
Oh wow!
Because
it's not regulated.
Oceanic law is it's an international zone. If you're so there's no national laws that
That's
govern
incredible.
what goes on there. So yes, there are no
captain of the vessel.
There are no regulatory bodies out there.
Is the law.
Captain
The
of
captain
the vessel is the law out
law.
there. Yeah. So now they signed waivers and things like that,
Right.
but. It's one of those tough situations. I would have wanted to see if my billionaire friend wants to take me on to this trip down to the bottom of the ocean. I'm like, all right, show me the testing data
right.
from the multiple several levels of autonomous testing that they did on these.
250 questions lined up right from the jump.
It was like I want to report, and it's got to be like this thick.
Totally.
Like, I'm making basically a C with my hand. It's got to be this thick, and I'm going to read the whole thing before I sign a waiver.
Totally.
It's interesting that you mentioned gun laws a minute ago, because another one of the stories of the day that I want to get into here in just a minute is the Biden administration has moved forward in the last 24 hours with new legislation that is aimed at hunters.
We're coming after mitigated gall.
Now we're coming after hunters.
Of course,
because
they're dangerous.
We've always said, look, we're not trying to take away your ability to hunt. We're not talking about sport. We're talking about weapons of war. Well, this one's literally directed exactly at hunters and fishermen.
Yeah.
And so I'll fill you in on that. As I said, we have some new information regarding the Hunter Biden situation.
Imagine you guys are going to be talking about that at Bluff City Outdoors.
We are definitely. I'm going to tease that. You're exactly
Yeah,
right.
oh,
We'll
yeah.
be talking about that tomorrow on the Bluff City Outdoors show. And real quick, though.
Yeah.
Would you, Gabe Pfeiffer,
Yeah.
Rocket scientist, brilliant person, engineer, would you rather be the first person in history to step foot on Mars, or the first person in history to see the bottom of the ocean, the Mariana Trench?
Wow.
Would you rather, yeah,
Oh, wow.
up or down? Which one is which? If you could be the first human to do one of those things,
Okay.
which would you choose?
My heart is in space.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like be the first man on Mars. Oh my gosh, my little sci-fi heart would explode. Right?
Sounds like a big butt's coming.
But in terms of the sheer innovation necessary to accomplish, it's unheard of that a human would be able to get down to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
Yeah.
that creeps
Like
me out.
put it that way, that's harder than rocket science.
Yeah.
to do
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
That's
I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
The Octonauts did it. I don't know if you saw that. All right, Gabe Pfeiffer from the morning show is with us. We'll get you the latest on Hunter Biden and the whistleblower situation, and I'll fill you in on Joe Biden's latest attack on the Second Amendment and much more as we go through Friday afternoon here on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For a little while, baby, won't you just stay?
Stream Colombo and Katie at newstalkstl.com. This is what's happening.
The indictment is now known to charge former President Trump with 37 different crimes.
101.9 and 94.1
Frightening image of President Biden falling on stage at the U.S. Air Force Academy.
News Talk STL.
If you need assistance with finances, and I mean across the board, David Ryan, president of Cadre Asset Management, is the person to call. David and his team at Cadre are the best. And I mean, I leave it very broad when I say finances because they can do it all. A cadre is a small group of people specifically trained for a particular purpose or profession. And that is the perfect way to explain what David and his team at Cadre Asset Management do when it comes to finances. Across the board, financial planning, retirement, investments, business planning, whatever it is, David Ryan and his team at Cadre can do it all. We've been working with David with our business and our personal finances for years now, and we trust him. I've learned so much from David over the years, and he and his team just can help you with some invaluable information and put you on a path to success, whether it be your personal finances, business finances, across the board. They have you covered at Cadre Asset Management. Learn more about Cadre and contact them now by following them on Facebook, Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or go to the website cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here. Excited to tell you about one of our newest clients. I've been a customer of them for years, Professional Irrigation Systems. If you're tired of dragging hoses around your yard to keep your grass alive every summer, now's the time to make your life easier. Residential irrigation installs in one day, custom designed for your property. They will enhance your curb appeal. They've also got landscape lightings, makes the architecture of your home stand out, making all your neighbors envious. Fertilization packages as well for all your lawn care needs and great financing options. ProIrrigation.com, 636-692-4441, ProIrrigation.com.
So, you want Steph's Pizza, but you're in Lake St. Louis and it's just too far to go. Not anymore. Now you can feed that Steph's Pizza craving quickly and conveniently in Lake St. Louis. Same great menu with a new location. 111 Pond Fort Trail in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peters on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com because tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
I'm sitting in a tree, swinging in the breeze. I'm looking at the blue sky, smelling it so sweet. My pretty little angel, my pretty little queen, pretty little princess, my pretty little dreams are binding.
Perry Woods Friday, every Friday here on Colombo and Katie. Support local music. We'll find out if it's going to be the kind of weekend to get outside and find a band or find something to do outside this weekend in just a few minutes when we talk to Steve Templeton, chief meteorologist over at Channel 4. He will be with us in about 15 minutes, and he will give us the weekend forecast, so definitely keep it here for that. I'm Tony Colombo. My partner is Katie Fitzpatrick, and Gabe Pfeiffer from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show are here in studio with you and happy to be along on a Friday afternoon. So here's the latest when it comes to Hunter Biden. We were just kind of in the last segment kind of recapping the week and looking back. Here's some new information on one of the big stories of the week. The White House Ways and Means Committee on Thursday released testimony, as we covered. We covered this yesterday, from the two IRS whistleblowers who alleged officials at the Justice Department, FBI, and IRS, three big agencies in the government, not just isolated to one, DOJ, FBI, and IRS, interfered with the investigation into tax evasion against Hunter Biden. The whistleblowers accused investigators of trying to limit questioning related to President Biden as part of the investigation into his son Hunter Biden, and said decisions in the case seemed to be influenced by politics. Whatever the motivations, at every single stage, decisions were made that had the effect of benefiting the subject of the investigation, said one whistleblower. IRS Criminal Supervisory Special Agent Gary Shapley Jr. oversaw the IRS probe into the president's son. He has accused the Justice Department of slow-walking the Hunter Biden probe, limiting investigators' line of questioning for witnesses, and repeatedly delaying the investigation ostensibly to avoid influencing elections. We also found out that the original person that was put in charge of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation was not even told all the details. Like, across the board, the DOJ, the FBI, the IRS, whether we're talking about John Durham, whether we're talking about Hunter Biden, like, the corruption runs deep. Back to the Hunter Biden situation, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland addressed the issue today for the very first time and implemented the Shaggy defense.
What the heck is that?
It wasn't me.
Oh, yeah.
my God.
You're going to have to find that one. You're going to have to find that. There's a 90s jam right there.
Like,
That was a 90s jam.
Oh, I love that song. But I thought you.
We caught you hiding all the papers. It wasn't me.
I was thinking Scooby Doo and Shaggy.
Yeah, you're thinking of
And
a
I'm
different
like-
Shaggy. Yes, you were thinking of Scooby Snacks as opposed to
It's a
Jamaican
little
accent.
it's a little ridiculous that it's today is the first time that Merrick Garland has even talked about it.
Yeah,
but
think
it
about
is.
that. Yeah, well, the first time he's been asked to speak about it, right?
Yeah, and then, of course, just deny. Here's what the Attorney General said today. Quote, as I said at the outset, Mr. Weiss, who was appointed by President Trump as the U.S. Attorney in Delaware and assigned to this matter during the previous administration, would be permitted to continue his investigation and to make a decision to prosecute any way in which he wanted to and in any district which he wanted to. Mr. Weiss has since sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee confirming that he had that authority. I don't know how it would be possible for anybody to block him from bringing a prosecution given that he has that authority. So that's it. Nothing from the Attorney General. The White House was asked again, of course, and this is just unbelievable to me. Mm-hmm. The White House continues to say that President Biden has never been involved in Hunter Biden's business dealings, and the White House still insists that the president never even discussed them with Hunter Biden.
Dan Bongino has the phone call.
How much proof do we need? I mean,
This is amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. The fact that the White House is still saying that he wasn't involved, that's already ridiculous. But they're still sticking to the whole they never even talked. They never even had a conversation about Ukraine or Burisma or what Hunter was doing.
We have the phone. We have tapes.
Your daughter is almost an adult. I don't know if you classify her as adult. Some people, dads have a different line of when they're an adult. I think is, but
like my dad, the adulthood line is when I stop writing checks.
Do you think that you will ever? My daughter turns 20 in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
She lives in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, she's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
But do you ever think that there will be a moment in your life where you don't
know what
she's doing?
You like professionally?
Yeah, professionally. Like you
never.
Don't even, do you ever predict a time when somebody says, "Hey, Gabe, what's Alex up to?" And you say, "I don't know. I don't even know what she does for a living."
I don't know who she is.
It's like
that's but that's literally what the White House is saying.
He's like,
that's what they're saying.
You're like, my daughter and I have never actually discussed her professional life. He's like, I don't know why you're asking me this. It's never come up. I've never seen. It's like I pay for her education. I dang well want to know what she's doing. Right?
It's family.
Look, I still talk to my mom about what I do.
Yes.
You know, as far as I can tell her.
Yeah. If somebody asked your mom, what does Gabe do? She would have an answer.
She would have an answer.
Yeah.
And
it wouldn't be, I have never talked to him about his business dealings.
Right. Exactly.
I have no idea what he does.
She knows exactly what aircraft I work.
But we're supposed to believe that the president
it's so dumb.
Has that relationship with his son, that he doesn't know.
It's amazing
what he does. It's incredible.
Well,
go ahead.
I can say the one thing he probably doesn't know is what shell company he's using to move the money through. Because that's called plausible deniability.
I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that as big of a
where's the money? Where's the money?
Yeah. I kind of have a feeling as big of a doofus as Joe is.
Maybe
he still has to be involved. I don't think Hunter could do
no.
I think Joe knows everything, or at least
Someone's
point
got
did,
a manager
because somebody had to
somebody had to be on top of the ball here.
I don't know how much of the whistleblower reports that you've read, but in one of them it literally says that the FBI agent was talking to an informant that was familiar with the Burisma situation, and was asking about it, and the Burisma executive said that Hunter Biden was dumb. Why did you need to include this person in the conversation when you already had Hunter Biden?
Yeah,
and they said
it's like he's kind of
he doesn't know what he's doing.
He's incompetent.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Joe had to be involved
to guide him.
Yeah.
To manage.
Because as far gone as Joe is now,
At some
Joe
point, he
Biden was
smart enough
on top of
to
his
handle-
game.
Yeah.
He was a slick. Look,
He was
don't
a slick
sell
operator.
Joe Biden short
He
on
was a
his
slick operator. He
career
was.
as far as his political brain.
Correct.
And his ability to
He had 40 years of practice.
spin a story and
Oh, yeah.
hide the truth. And like there was a long period of time where Joe Biden was a very savvy
You
politician.
can hear that in the audio tapes. You can hear him as much as we've seen previous footage of what he looked like, his demeanor, the way he communicated. And
He's much more confident and steady and
he was
strong.
much more impressive.
Yes.
And I could see why Obama would have chosen him as the VP. In these phone conversations, it's that same kind of confidence. Now, Dan Bongino talking about him twice now, but he has the most perfect saying about people like Hunter Biden and people like Joe Biden, and it's stupid smart people.
Oh,
and they're the most dangerous types of people that roam among us, and it's stupid smart people.
Yes.
And, I hate that I'm saying this about the president of the United States, although I think there's probably a faction of this world that thought the same thing about Donald Trump. But what I have been hearing through these tapes and what Dan Bongino and others have been playing over the internet, he was savvy. And you're right, Tony. To dismiss Joe Biden completely because of the state he is in now would be a disservice to anyone that looks at that. Might be why people are writing it off because they're looking at him now being like, how could this guy operate anything?
Right.
If you remember in the 2008 presidential election, the John McCain Sarah Palin election, the vice president debate was here in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
And everybody going into it knew like Joe Biden's going to tear Sarah Palin apart, and he did because he was good. He was a good politician. He knew how to answer questions. He knew how to spin it. He knew how to hold people's attention.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to.
He had like 20 years experience on her. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Going in
100.
120.
It's hard to remember that Joe Biden now because of the disaster that he is. But there was a day,
He's very
and that's
capable.
when this was happening, when he was vice president.
Yes.
That's when all of this was happening.
Yes.
So he was a
absolutely.
different man.
He was
back
elected
then.
to the Senate in 1972.
Yes. To the Senate.
That's before I was born. I'm 45,
Yes.
and that's 6 years before I was born.
Yeah.
1972.
And of course, it takes a political career to get to the Senate.
Oh my!
Yeah,
so-
right. That's
yeah.
not the
Yeah,
first.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that
exactly.
wasn't his first office either.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wild.
exactly.
So here, that's the type of guy we're dealing with. You know, I have a pitch for a Hollywood movie about a man who he's got big dreams about working in the Justice Department, and he finds some evidence that he thinks is really important. It implicates one of the highest, most important families in the world, and he's on his grind. He's trying to get his boss to get on board, and he won't do it. And he says, you know, you're gonna have to bury this, or you're gonna bury your career. And he goes off on it. He's a lone wolf. He's off here investigating things and going for it, looking for all that information to implicate the now president and his son, and then he disappears.
And it's suicide.
Then he suicided.
Then he
It's
got
like,
Hillary
well,
Clinton
actually,
suicide.
no. The ending is still being written. We're gonna see how it ends up in about
Okay.
5 years.
Yay!
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about it.
we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. No, but honestly, I mean, it sounds like a Hollywood movie, doesn't it? I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
In that, you know, you've got this essentially a crime family operating out of the White House, and they're selling U.S. policy to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
To whatever
Influence
nation,
over US
to
policy.
whatever nation wants to do it, including basically a Cold War enemy.
It's as big. It is. I've said this many times. It is the biggest political crime you can commit.
Yes.
That's why I was saying earlier. This is a bigger story than any of it.
Yes.
This is if Donald Trump's guilty on everything that he's been charged on.
It's still a drop in the
pales
bucket.
in comparison.
Oh my gosh.
As far as like level of crime.
Yeah.
To what Joe and Hunter Biden did.
Well, and what's funny too is that this comes on the heels of a political scandal that should have been 20 times bigger than Watergate in the spying and the interference in the 2016 campaign by the whole FBI investigation to begin with, because it was predicated on falsehoods and lies.
So Merrick Garland said a bunch of nothing. It wasn't me, and we haven't done anything to delay any investigations, and we haven't done anything to slow, any investigations down. You want some more proof? Because there's more proof that is a lie. And it came out today. Jason Smith, our very own congressman here from the state of Missouri, continues to be very impressive on top of this as chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. And today, Congressman Smith revealed some more information. He said in an interview today, quote, Democrats will come to regret their vote as more facts in this investigation come to light and are judged in the court of public opinion. The scales of justice cannot be skewed in favor of the wealthy and the politically connected. His committee, which fielded the testimony, voted to make nearly 400 pages public on a 25-18 party vote. Congressman Smith went on to say, quote, during our committee meeting, Democrats sidestepped the whistleblower's damning testimony about misconduct and special treatment in the investigation into Hunter Biden's alleged tax crimes. Throughout the process, Republicans acted in good faith, sharing information and making Democrats equal participants in the whistleblower interviews. But in the end, every House Democrat on the committee that released whistleblower testimony about Hunter Biden and the tax probe voted to keep that information hidden from the public. Every Democrat voted, every Democrat on the House Ways and Means Committee voted to not allow this information to be shared with the American people. And that happens on the same day that Merrick Garland says, we're not doing anything to keep this, we're not trying to hide anything, we're not trying to slow anything down, we're not trying... The facts speak for themselves. Every one of them on that committee voted to not, saying that this is not something that should be shown to the American people. Representative Kevin Hern of Oklahoma, who is part of the committee, said that the Democrats' counterparts, the no votes, amounted to covering for Hunter Biden. I think that's exactly right. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I'm really curious. I'm really curious where the American people stand on this. I mean. I can understand people who are wanting to dismiss this out of hand the way people often do. You know, if you're on the blue team, you don't want somebody with a blue jersey to get called on a foul. I get it. But is there a point at which even the blue jersey people can look and say, man, we can't have this stuff on our team?
I don't think that the average American citizen knows how big of a crime this is. I don't think, like you say, you're interested to see what they think.
Yeah,
I am too. But I think that right now,
most people don't know.
You can't even get an answer to that question because, as I've said so many times, we get lost in this because we do it every day.
Right. Yeah.
Most people have a family to feed. Mm-hmm. They have bills to pay, a job to do, and they may look at the news for a few minutes a day. Hopefully, tune in to News Talk STL, but they don't consume news like we do.
So we live and work in the water in the ocean, and they're landlocked.
Yeah, I think that
they go to the beach occasionally.
They know that Hunter Biden is gross and did some corrupt stuff, but I don't think that I think the Democrats have something to do with this. I think they've done a good job of hiding this and keeping this information as stymied as possible. I don't think people realize the level that the Bidens literally sold out the country.
And this is a complicated story. This is a convoluted story. This has many, many layers and a very long history that people that are just trying to live their life don't have time, hours of their day to dedicate to try to put together the spider web.
Yeah.
We
got to get to the weekend forecast in just a minute, but before we lose Gabe, I want to get your thoughts on this, Gabe. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've even seen this yet. This is kind of a new story. A lot of people on the left and in the media are accusing Ron DeSantis of racism for his remarks about basketball players. Did you see this?
I did not.
That's even better. Because
I want to get me cold.
Your fresh reaction to this, Katie. I want to get your thoughts. Have you seen this?
I've not.
Great. DeSantis was asked about his love of baseball in a recent interview which he praised as a meritocratic, help me, Gabe.
Meritocratic.
Yes, game where people of different sizes and skill levels can perform well at various positions, contrasting it with basketball. He said, quote, and you have to remember, Ron DeSantis was a college baseball player. He played baseball at Yale. So this is his
game.
This is his game. So he's going to have a bias towards baseball anyway.
Yeah.
On top of
he's Mike Ferguson.
So he said, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you work with one every day.
Exactly.
So he's being interviewed, and somebody asked him about his love of baseball.
Right.
And he said, quote, I think there's a kind of place for everybody in a baseball team if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to practice. I kind of thought it was always a very democratic game. That word you just said, game.
Yeah, meritocratic.
Whereas I kind of viewed basketball as like these guys are just freaks of nature. They're just incredible athletes. In baseball, you don't have to be an incredible athlete. You have some guys that might not necessarily be the best athletes, but maybe they can throw a slider that nobody can hit, or they have the skills to allow them to compete at a higher level.
Okay.
So
I understand what he's saying.
yeah, I personally think like John Kruk, very famous, was a great Hall of Fame, all-star baseball player in the '90s for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he was a fat guy.
Yeah,
he played first base for the Phillies, but he was a star. He could hit bomb, and he would say in interviews, like, how do you have this diet or whatever and be an athlete? And he'd always say, I'm not an athlete, I'm a baseball player. And there are guys, if you can throw if you're left-handed and can throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball,
oh yeah,
you have a job for the rest of your life. You don't necessarily have to be a super athlete.
Right.
Whereas in basketball, you kind of have to be a great athlete to play. You can't just not have the skills. Mm-hmm. So there is a definite difference between the games.
Oh yeah.
However, of course, because
they had to make it racist.
So I want to read that quote one more time.
Okay.
This is all he said. This is the whole quote.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of viewed basketball as like these guys are just freaks of nature. They're just incredible athletes. In baseball, you have some guys that might not necessarily be the best athletes, but maybe they've got, a slider that nobody can hit, or they have the skills that allow them to compete at a higher level. So many people on social media, even left-wing politicians and members of the media are saying that this is a clear racist dog whistle.
The dog whistle.
Because the majority of NBA basketball players are black. As a black conservative, as a black man, when you hear that quote from Ron DeSantis, do you see a clear racist dog whistle?
To all the people who would come at Ron DeSantis with that opinion, STFU. Honestly. Honestly. I mean, it's like, you know what? Come on, guys. Actually give people the benefit of the doubt of what they're saying and try to listen with your ears instead of your frou-frou, snowflakery emotions and your ideological biases, and just listen to what people are actually saying.
And where's the negative? Where's the negative?
That's
Basketball players are freaks of nature that are great athletes.
Yeah, incredibly
I'm trying to
athletic.
think of that.
Yeah, they're great. They're freaks of nature that are great.
Are you calling me an
freak?
incredible athlete? How dare you?
I wish that I was a freak of nature.
If somebody called me
athlete.
a freak of nature, incredible athlete, yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
That's why they paid me millions of dollars.
They asked him because he already has a built-in bias for baseball and love of baseball anyway. I mean,
it's a very weird thing to be upset about.
I mean, talk about making something out of nothing. But
yeah.
They're trying.
Yeah, they have to.
Gabe Pfeiffer from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show. You can hear Gabe, Mike, and Stell every weekday morning starting at 5:30 right here on News Talk STL. You can also follow Gabe on his YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Thank you, buddy. Great to see you.
Thanks, guys. God
Have a
bless.
great weekend. All right, we are going to get you ready for your weekend with the weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton in just a moment here on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
You're listening to Colombo and Katie. Follow us on Getter at News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Appreciate you talking about stuff like this.
Live and local.
The state of politics and media is really dumb right now. It's big dumb. It really is.
It's dumbly.
This is News Talk STL.
So just yesterday had Dave Sylvester from Gutter Pros in studio. Great conversation. Picked up some great tips. Great advice from Dave Sylvester in that conversation. If you missed it, make sure you go back and check out the podcast and listen to it. Dave and his team at Gutter Pros are just the best. And that's why we used them. And that's why we trust them to work on our home. And that's why I wouldn't hesitate to use them again, whether it be for a home service or business service. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. So, leaf protection, gutter repair, new gutter installation, facets, soffits, all of that. They do it all for your home or for your business. You can just take advantage of their free estimates. If you have a problem with your gutters, but you're not ready to make a commitment, but you just need to know what's the problem and how big of a problem it's going to be, you can get all that information absolutely free by taking advantage of the free estimates at Gutter Pros. They also offer financing on jobs over $2,000 to help it make everything as affordable as possible. They're the best at Gutter Pros. So if you need some help with your gutters at your home or your business, you can call them now at 314-656-7195 or just go to gutterpros.com. That's gutterpros.com.
Hey, it's Vic. With today's high inflation, uncertain market conditions, and rising healthcare costs, you have enough on your mind. Don't let the high cost of long-term care be one of them. Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper's new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care, discusses tax efficiency challenges and asset protection. Get your free copy by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. This is a paid endorsement. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
From trees that need planting to fences that need building, you have a lot to do. But that's no excuse to skip the most important step in any digging project, locating the underground facility. Submit a free locate request online at Missouri-811.org or by calling 811 3 working days before digging. Missouri 811 will contact the public utility owners so they can locate their underground utilities and you can dig with confidence. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Like a mountain stream, eyes as bright as the sun light up my dreams, lips as full as
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Went a little long there chatting with Gabe Pfeiffer, so let's get right into it with Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. As always, Friday afternoons, time to get the weekend report. Steve, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure, and I'm glad you have me so I can get you the first alert on what's happening, because there's a lot going on.
Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, here we go. Two things, heat and storms. That's what we're going to have to deal with. The storms that won't wash out the entire weekend. In fact, there's a first alert weather day for Saturday night into Sunday morning, so most activities will be fine because the rain's going to come in overnight. I'm thinking that timing, by the way, is perhaps as early as 9 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. It is possible the storms don't even get here till after midnight, but the potential is there for some of them to be strong to severe, main threat being damaging wind. So we're going to have to watch for that. That's why we have a first look weather day Saturday night. In the meantime, much of Saturday is dry, low 72, but here's the deal. It gets hot, 96 for the high. Heat index 98, so it's not real excessive humidity, but boy, it adds a couple degrees. It's just going to be a really hot day. We haven't had a ton of these hot days, too, so just take it easy. Our bodies aren't used to this. 96, heat index 98 on Saturday. Sunshine to start, partly cloudy in the afternoon. Then we watch for those storms late evening and overnight. Those storms are gone by daybreak on Sunday, and Sunday's just sunny and windy. It's going to be hot again, though, a high of around 94. Any storms that redevelop should be well southeast of St. Louis, so I expect a dry one, sunshine and hot on Sunday. It'll be very humid in the morning, but as the less humid air behind that front gets here, you'll start to notice it. Even though it's hot with that high of 94, you'll start to notice it getting a little less humid later in the day on Sunday.
Calm tonight, though, for the rest of the night? Nothing?
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little toasty, temperatures will be in the 80s for sure, but, not too bad. We can handle that.
Well, we always got to keep an eye on a storm, especially one that has the potential to be, intense. But we definitely need the water, right,
Yeah.
Steve? How bad are things out there right now as far as water levels are concerned? Drought
June so far has actually been our wettest month compared to April and May. But we're still slightly below normal, about 0.3 inches below normal. So, we're close. But the problem is when you look at the whole growing season from April, May, and June, we're still about 5.7 inches below normal. So we definitely need more rain. I don't think this rain Saturday night's going to put a big dent into it because I don't expect it to be widespread or long-lasting. And, downpours, a lot of that runs off. It doesn't really soak into the soil. So these are going to be not really beneficial rains, but we'll take what we can get. At least we have a chance for some showers and storms Saturday night.
And do you see those storms being the entire metro area is kind of in the path, or is there an area that is more susceptible to, east, south, west, whatever, more susceptible to rains on Saturday night?
Yeah, good question. I'd say the entire metro and then north. That's more likely to get hit. Some areas south, southeast may get clipped by an isolated shower storm, but I think at that point we're starting to see storms, diminish and weaken a little bit southeast of St. Louis. So St. Louis metro and north, better bet. But again, these are, the buckshot type of storms where, they're scattered all over the place, and you may get a downpour in Baldwin and nothing in Chesterfield, or you get a downpour in Edwardsville and Glen Carbon misses it. So that's the type of storms we'll get. But again, it's going to be Saturday night into Sunday morning. So I do think a lot of the activities this weekend, while you have to deal with the heat, will be underway without any problems.
Yeah. Well, it could definitely be worse, but we need to keep an eye on the sky and be careful on Saturday. Of course, keep an eye on the Channel 4 website, the Channel 4 weather app, and the team over there at Channel 4 keep you updated if anything gets crazy on Saturday night. Steve, thank you so much as always for the information, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Katie. Take care, guys.
You bet.
Thank you.
And what a perfect time to talk to Brian Agers from Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. The summer temperatures are here, and that is definitely going to impact your air conditioner. So we'll talk to Brian in just a moment on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic, and I'm here with Kathy Connor at Connor Roofing. Kathy, what makes Connor Roofing different?
Hey, Vic. I'm glad that you asked. I think that what really sets Connor Roofing apart is our relationship with our customers. It's very important to us to develop that trust with the homeowner. This is what has allowed us to serve our friends and our neighbors in the St. Louis area for 30 years. Whether we are doing a roof or a gutter repair or even a full replacement, you can count on Connor for quality service and workmanship.
Thanks, Kathy. To find out more, visit them at connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
This is the perfect time to upgrade your home. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. Their number is 314-993-1800. Improve your home with Window World's double-strength glass windows. Those come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. 314-993-1800. Get a free in-home estimate. Window World is the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com.
HD3 Plate K270BW Belfast KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Interstate 95 set to reopen to traffic less than 2 weeks after a deadly collapse in Philadelphia shut down the heavily traveled stretch of the East Coast Maine North-South Highway. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro told WPVI he's proud of everyone behind the reopening.
When I stood here 12 days ago, I must say there was a pessimism in the air, one that I believe has lingered in this city and in this Commonwealth for far too long. And today, all of us here together prove them wrong.
An elevated section of I-95 collapsed June 11th after a tractor-trailer hauling gasoline flipped on an off-ramp and caught fire. Also at townhall.com, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, the GOP presidential candidate, was booed at the annual Faith and Freedom Coalition's Road to Majority Conference in Washington, D.C., a gathering of evangelical leaders and activists.
Christie was booed by some in the audience as he was criticizing former President Donald Trump in explaining his decision to run for president in 2024.
He's unwilling to take responsibility for any of the mistakes that were made, any of the faults that he has, and any of the things that he's done. And that is not leadership, everybody. That is a failure of leadership. And you can boo all you want.
Some in the audience did clap afterwards as he noted that the Christian faith teaches its followers to take responsibility for their actions. Edwin Mora, Washington.
The event marks the first time that the 11 Republican presidential hopefuls gathered in one place. The Dow was down 218 points today. The NASDAQ lost 138. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. You find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Atlantic City getting a long sought.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your First Alert forecast. And we have a First Alert weather day, Saturday, late evening and nighttime, a chance for some strong to severe storms. But much of the day Saturday is dry. In fact, we'll start off at 72, and it's just going to be a hot day, muggy too. 96 for the high, heat index of 98, partly to mostly sunny. We'll watch for those strong to severe storms near and after 10 o'clock. They'll be gone before dawn on Sunday. So Sunday's sunny, breezy, and hot with a high of 94. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
So cybersecurity has never been more important. We're going into a new age when it comes to computer technology and things like that. And that is why ThrottleNet is such a great asset for so many businesses, including my family's own small business throughout the St. Louis area. And as I mentioned, cybersecurity has never been more important. And if you are asking yourself the question, is my business prepared for a possible ransomware attack? And you don't have an answer to that question, or you are wondering about the answer to that question, then you need to call the team at ThrottleNet immediately. ThrottleNet provides world-class managed IT services and IT support to many local organizations, as I mentioned, including my family's own small business. and they're St. Louis's highest rated and most reviewed outsourced IT company. And there's many ways that ThrottleNet can help with your business's operation and digital protection. They've been helping us for years. They are the best. And right now, having a team like ThrottleNet on your side is more important than ever. So learn more at throttlenet.com.
Fox News commentary.
Hunter Biden truly is the deadbeat dad of the year. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
At SimpliSafe, we design award-winning security to protect every inch of your home. It's easy to set up yourself, and now there's an even easier option. Have an expert do it for you with SimpliSafe Pro Install. Always protecting, never a contract. 2 easy installation options, backed by 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Hunter Biden get a sweetheart plea deal for his tax evasion and illegal possession of a firearm. He also managed to reduce his child support payments to the mother of the young daughter he fails to acknowledge. Because Hunter Biden settled with his baby mama, London Roberts, out of court, we will never know the amount he has agreed to pay, but we do know it will be reduced from the $20K a month he was ordered to pay and has been fighting tooth and nail to reduce. He received millions from foreign entities sitting on boards of companies he had no skills to sit on, but he can't pony up $20K a month for his innocent 4-year-old daughter, a daughter he refuses to lend his last name to, and a granddaughter the big guy, Joe Brandon, still refuses to acknowledge at all? Wow, I gotta tell you guys, these Bidens, they really have brought all the decency and morality back to the White House just as they promised. Not? I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. It is a Friday afternoon. Looking forward to the weekend. Just got that weekend forecast from Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. And, you know, summer officially started this week, and it sounds like the big temperatures that come along, Katie, with St. Louis's summers are officially starting as well.
Here.
Yeah, so what a perfect day to have Brian Eggers from Eggers Heating and Air Conditioning in studio with us. Great to see you, buddy. It's been way too long.
It is good to be back.
It's great to have you in studio, especially, as I mentioned, on a day like today where we just heard from Steve Templeton a few minutes ago that the St. Louis, the St. Louis summer is about to kick everybody right in the face.
You have to admit, though, I mean, normally in St. Louis you get cold weather, which morphs into living in someone's armpit from you get 2 days of spring and then it's hot.
I think we've got pretty lucky.
We have been super blessed with this weather, and even in the last couple of weeks when it's been pretty warm during the day, it's low in the 60s. I mean, so you get to sit out on your porch or cut grass in the evenings or whatever and don't feel like you're melting into the sidewalk. So it's been great.
But I would imagine for somebody like you that that means that many people kind of get lulled into a false sense of security. That
they can, yeah.
It's late June and everything seems fine. I thought, last year I thought the air conditioner was acting up a little bit, but everything's fine because it hasn't really been worked too hard. And now all of a sudden they're going to be
working,
running 24/7, and I imagine that that'll make your phone ring a little bit more.
Yeah, it does. And one of the nice things about where we're at post-COVID, maybe the only nice thing is that the supply chain, I won't say it's 100%, but it's pretty better. Solid. I mean, there's only been maybe one time this whole year that I haven't had what I needed. And so, for one customer. So it's for the most part, I think, like I said, we're not there, but we're really close to there. And I don't think many people. I guess it depends upon what brand you're distributing. What you're reselling to your customers. But with the brands that we have been selling, it's been pretty steady stream. So that's been a real plus. I do want to encourage people too, and I've talked about this, not necessarily in broad terms, but certainly some one-on-ones with folks about the 2025 regulations that are coming.
Okay. Well, you know what? I wanted to touch on one thing before we
Yeah.
get into that, because that is something that we've talked about a little bit on the show, and it's fascinating. They're coming after everybody. They're coming after the HVAC industry, gas
Automobile.
stoves, microwaves,
Appliances.
across the
appliances,
board. And I
yeah.
wanted to ask you how that's going to affect your bit, or what you think about that, and what impact that's going to have. But I wanted to go ahead.
I think when your political ideology becomes your religion,
Oh.
nothing good comes out of it. And
Yeah.
so this idea that we can electrify everything is just rubbish. There's no way that we can afford to do it. There's no way that we have the grid, the power grid to do it. And even if we had the grid, even if the wires and everything that we needed was built out and in place, we are 2 decades away from having enough power generation. And that's if people were applying today for permits. And the thing about it is utility companies, and I know more about this than one might think because of my involvement in Jefferson City, but utility companies don't get to start charging their customers for a power plant until the thing's operational. So if it takes 7 years of permitting and building and hundreds of millions
have
of
to wait
dollars to
7
build,
years.
they got to wait that whole time before they charge a dime for it. So, imagine buying a house, letting people live in it basically for 7 years before you start collecting the first dime of rent. That would be a lot to swallow. And the other thing is, and I haven't spoken to anybody at Ameren recently, but, our capacity here, last time I had checked, we're good to go for like 9 months out of the year. So we really only have to worry about the hottest part of the summer as far as stressing our capacity. But the idea that we can all have an electric car, I don't know if anybody's really dug into that, but that's 80 amps of 240 volts to charge that thing.
Oh my God.
We touched on this in the first early in the show with Gabe Pfeiffer when he was in here, and Gabe is a MIT grad. He's a literal rocket scientist, a engineer, and we were kind of touching on this topic a little more broadly, but we will get there as a civilization, as a planet. We will get to a point where we don't rely on gasoline, and we will get to a more environmentally friendly way of living. But we will do it through innovation and capitalism,
Not through
and
mandates.
not through government mandates.
Right.
Exactly. That it's every big innovation in human history has come from people taking chances, seeing a better way to do something and a way to build an invention or a process to make money off of it, but also benefit customers and the world. And that will happen. But we are not allowing. You can't just say, like they've done in California, hey, no more gas cars after 5 more years.
Right.
Like that doesn't get anything done. That doesn't do anything but hurt people. That doesn't do anything but put people at a disadvantage. We'll get there, but as long as the federal government is trying to impose just seemingly random
This
regulations.
feels politically expedient. Let's make it happen. And
Exactly.
it's like,
It's
so we're seeing
bad.
what we're going to see in our industry in the next 18 months is 2025 begins the new refrigerant mandate. And so the number one question people ask me, well, if I buy equipment now, is the government going to show up on my doorstep and tell me I have to change it? And the answer to that is absolutely not. They just they're mandating the refrigerant, what can be produced post 2025, starting January 1, 25. And so we're having to switch refrigerants, and there's usually, if you look at all the manufacturers across the sector, there's pretty much 2 refrigerants that moving forward that the industry has narrowed it down to, and neither one of them is 410A because it can't be, because we're switching to something that's greener, which also has propane in it. And so it's still refrigerant. It still has refrigerant in it, but it also has propane in it. And so they call it slightly flammable.
I was going to say, that sounds like it could be.
Yeah, but it's
dangerous.
anything with the government. It's like, well, if it's even remotely flammable, now we have to put all kinds of equipment into your product so that we have to safeguard. So, I've actually asked folks when I've gone to trade shows and conventions, and I'm talking about employees of major manufacturers. What are we looking at, do you think, cost-wise? Like, what is this? Because it's a sensor in the furnace and a sensor in the evaporator coil and probably a sensor in the ductwork and one outside, and all these things are constantly smelling for refrigerant leakage because now that it's got propane in it, it's flammable. And all this stuff is adding more things to go wrong and more cost to the equipment. And so the consensus, if you could call it a consensus, the general answer that I get from folks who are more or less in the know is everything's going to go up 30%. So you can expect your heating and cooling equipment starting late next year to be 30% more expensive, not because it's more efficient per se, but just because we've changed the refrigerant to something that's, and let me just remind everybody listening, R22, which is the stuff that you couldn't use after 2005 in new equipment, R22 was basically a perfect refrigerant. And the federal government's, well, it wasn't even the federal government, a chemical company that shall remain nameless, developed the patent for 410A. They lobbied Congress. Congress is kind of dopes, and they said, oh, okay, that sounds legit, let's do it. So no more R22. R22 refrigerant used mineral oil, one of the most benign things in the environment that you could possibly use to lubricate the system, because it had an attraction to chlorine, which was in R22. They said, oh, we can't do that anymore. The chlorine is killing the environment. It's making the ozone depleted and making the hole bigger, and we're all going to fry to death. Let's get rid of R22. So we go to this current model, which is 410A. It uses a synthetic oil that has an unnatural attraction to water. So you have to put it in a metal can when they package it to sell to contractors like me. It's not in a plastic jug because it'll suck water through the plastic.
This is insane.
So it's got to be in a metal can, and it's not environmentally friendly, but this is the new thing. Now, pause for just a moment.
What a perfect illustration of what we just said. Yeah. How the federal government and
messes up
regulate.
And here's the stupid part.
Screws everything up.
Who has a swimming pool? Raise your hand.
My parents do.
All around the globe, people have swimming pools, especially the closer you get to the equator. And what are you dumping in most of those pools? Chlorine. Did anybody slow roll swimming pools?
Brian, this is exactly, that was the number one thing I was thinking of. This entire time that you've been saying this, I'm like,
what about
chlorine?
Swimming pools? Right.
That's what.
And they put it in our water, and they put it in swimming. I mean, it's like gassing off into the environment everywhere. But no, we can't have it in
synthetic.
refrigerant.
You used the word synthetic whenever you said that the government said now we have to use this altered, different way of refrigerating.
Oh, by the way, guess
less efficient.
When the government builds a nuclear submarine or some sort of destroyer, anybody want to guess what refrigerants they're using?
R22.
R22 and R12, the low temperature refrigerant that was banned back in the 90s because it was so terrible for the environment. It's such a great refrigerant that the federal government still builds all their stuff with R22.
What a load.
Or I'm sorry, R12 and R22 because it was the best. But it's not good enough
for the peasants.
We're not good enough for that, though. You know what I mean?
Is there anything people can do to prepare? Or
oh well, yes. I thought you were going to say to change
or to
it.
stop it.
Nope.
No.
I mean, this was some of these mandates were put in during the Obama administration. when this is coming down and somebody's like, oh, in 2034, everybody sits around, oh, that's a light year away.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
You get here and it's like, oh crap, that's now.
Yeah, the politicians, that's exactly what they do. 10 years from now, that's forever.
Yeah, and nobody raises an eyebrow because it's so far
But I
out.
can check. I can prove I can put in my next campaign ad
Mm-hmm.
that I voted for something to, save the planet.
Or I can vote for something that's going to be unbelievably costly to consumers, because in the history of forever, anytime the government levies a tax on a business, I can't believe the number of people in this country that are stupid enough to think that tax does not get passed on to them.
Yeah.
Dude, we all pay that tax. Like every time you pump a gallon of gas or you take a bite of food or you whatever, you're paying the tax that the government hosed the corporation with.
Yeah. And not even to mention that you can regulate the United States out of existence in the name of the environment. And
India and China are going to keep on.
And Russia and
everywhere else.
Everywhere
it's
else,
like, pollution. Never heard of her. You know what I mean?
I mean, everybody's got different numbers, but like from the most consistent that I can see is that the United States is responsible for about 15% of all the world's pollution. So
if that much,
because
we put a scrubber on every stack.
Yeah, if we stopped like everything, like turned off every light, stopped every car, shut down every.
The thing that cracks me up is
50. There'd still be 85% of the pollution.
The thing that cracks me up about the whole electric car movement is, has anybody looked at a strip mine or a pit mine?
It's horrible.
You're talking about
horrible
big diesel trucks that have no emissions regulations because guess what? They're heavy machinery. So they're exempt from the laws of manufacturing for, the vehicles that we buy that we run up and down the highway. So you've got these, black smoke pouring out of them, no DEF, no diesel emissions at all. And it's like, we're going to spend hundreds of gallons of diesel fuel and these big trucks that leak grease and need oil changes constantly to mine just enough to get a battery for a car. And I read somewhere that like the payback, you'd have to run an electric car 200,000 miles. And once you reach 200,000, then all of a sudden the car is green because of all the pollution that came out of mining the materials for the car for the first 200,000 miles. It's like, are we the dumbest?
Yes.
What is the deal?
That we've ever been.
Yes.
Dumbest we've
Yes.
ever been is right now.
Got a couple minutes left here with Brian Eggers from Eggers Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for bringing everybody down on Friday.
Yeah. Hey.
But no, this is
I do what I can.
But it's so important. It's so important that people know. People don't hear this on a regular. They don't know that this is all happening, and we need to know. We need to know.
So my advice moving forward is change your filter.
Yeah.
Because still, all the time.
Of course, yes.
Change your filter in your equipment often. Don't do it when I think about it, because you're wasting about 15% of your electrical usage on dirty filters.
Yeah.
That's an estimate put out by a major manufacturer. Change your filters, and if you are anywhere near needing new equipment, do it before the refrigerant changes, because the silver lining
before
is
2025.
Yeah, it's cheaper than it's going to be right now. There's awesome tax credits and incentives. My average customer is seeing about $3,750 back right now. And the other thing is a 50 to 60% savings on this high efficiency equipment versus what people are using in their homes currently. And so when you add all these things up, there's a nice return on investment to it.
Yeah, and I want to mention this before we wrap this up. One of the best things I ever learned from you was, especially going into big heat like we're going to start seeing this weekend, your air conditioner, even if it's the bestest, most efficient air conditioner in the world, it is designed to keep it about 20 degrees cooler
than the outside temperature.
So
yes, sir.
If it's 99 degrees and you think that because your thermostat is set at 65 that your air conditioner is broken because it's not 65 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a 99 degree day, your air conditioner is not necessarily broken.
No, there's exceptions to the rule depending upon how tight a house is, how well insulated. But the rule of thumb is if it's 100 outside and it's 80 inside,
That's so good to know.
Don't spend the money on having somebody come out and tell you nothing's broke because
good
it's
to
not
know.
broke.
Yeah.
That's the design. And
Mhm.
and I've had people, well, why in the heck would they do that? Why wouldn't you just design it for 40 degrees? Well, because there's humidity. And so if you overcool or put too many BTUs of cooling capacity on a space, yeah, it'll keep it cold like a meat locker, but it won't run long enough to remove the humidity, which is mold and other, it feels like a cold armpit this time. But so it's important to hit the spot of temperature and humidity. And there's, because of how fluctuating our weather is between 0 degrees in the winter and 100 degrees in the summer,
yeah,
you can only do what you can do.
I went from the Stone Age to Space Age.
Amen.
Like I went from
Stone Age, brother. You have nailed it. The stuff that you had in your house, I think, was made by the original Dave Lennox.
I went from 30-year-old equipment and a 30-year-old thermostat to now what is just over a year old, a brand new system in our new house, and it is this light years different. We love our HVAC system.
And what do you keep it on overnight?
63.
Yeah, you're nuts.
Nuts.
63.
63. I wish I made Tony Colombo money so I could put 63 degrees.
I don't turn it down to 63 until like 11 o'clock at night.
Well, the good
and then
news
it goes back up to
the good news is that's the cheapest time to run it is overnight.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Well, it couldn't hold 63 all day, especially on the weekend like we have coming up now.
Absolutely not.
You want to stick around for some Friday fun time?
Sure.
Stick around with us. And in the meantime, if people want to contact Agers, what's all the best ways they learn about Agers HVAC and contact you guys?
Callagers.com, CALLAGERS. We've got a mobile showroom. You can check out working equipment before you decide to buy
that
it.
the new mobile showroom?
It is.
Too?
It's been on the road for about 8 weeks.
Let's go.
Nice
I gotta
brand
see it.
new
I haven't
Mack
seen the new one.
truck, and I'll have to come down with it.
Yeah, we'll do a tour.
There you go.
We'll do a house tour of the mobile showroom. That is Brian Agers from Agers Heating and Air Conditioning, and he's going to stick around for a little Friday fun time. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The news and talk
Biden is trying to jail
that matters to St. Louis.
his leading political opponent, an opponent that's beating him by a lot.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Just like they do in Stalinist Russia.
News Talk STL.
Talking to Brian Agers from Agers HVAC. Agers can keep the inside of your home comfortable. All Solutions Pest Control is who you can rely on to keep the outside of your home, something that you can use throughout the summer. We love to be outside. We love to play in the yard. The kids love to be outside. We love to grill out on the deck. And this time of year, the one thing that can really ruin that is the bugs, the pests, the mosquitoes. And that is why All Solutions Pest Control plays such a big role in giving us our home and our yard back and can do the same for you. If you already have a pest problem, you need to call All Solutions right now. But why we love All Solutions is because they are the best at preventing that from happening. Whether it be ants, spiders, termites, wasps, mosquitoes, whatever it is, they have you covered at All Solutions Pest Control. And right now they have an incredible offer for you to take advantage of, a $67 introductory special. What a perfect time of the year to take advantage of this great offer from All Solutions Pest Control. Get your yard back. We love the mosquito treatment. I don't know what it is about this new house and this new area with these prehistoric sized mosquitoes that when we moved into this subdivision, and then we found All Solutions, we learned about their mosquito treatment, and it literally gave us our deck and our yard back, and we absolutely love it. Learn more about that and everything they can do for you and take advantage of this amazing $67 introductory special by going to allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
I could be a multi-billionaire. I would have so much money, Warren Buffett would be jealous. See, I had this opportunity right in front of me a few years ago. Well, maybe more than a few years ago. My brother and I were watching The Lone Ranger on TV.
I know some of you might remember that. That was the Western of the Masked Man and his friend Tonto. So my brother and I are watching, and in those days, most TV programs were in black and white, and the television sets were about the size of a small car, with a screen about the size of a dinner plate. And they also worked on large tubes, which took forever to warm up before anything would come up on the screen. Just as the Lone Ranger got ready to get the bad guy, my brother jumped up, ran over, turned the TV off, ran out of the room. What? When he came back in, I shouted at him, why did you turn the TV off? Because just as I got it turned back on, he came back in. He said, well, I ran out because I didn't want to miss the most exciting part coming up. I had to go to the bathroom. There was my opportunity. Missed. If only I had developed the first TV DVR. Think of the millions of monies I would have. Wow.
For more, listen to the Larry Connors USA Daily Report tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Wow, that was my reaction when I walked into Napoli C, now open on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli 3. And Napoli C is like walking into a 2-level submarine. Fish just outside the portholes. The menu is going to be filled with various seafood, lobster, crab. Good luck with choosing. Napoli C is now open on the streets of St. Charles. Join me at any Cafe Napoli. Clayton, Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, are right next door, Napoli C.
Hey, Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
There is a great story about how John Beal Roofing got started. I encourage you to read it at their website, johnbealroofing.com. That 1947 story leads to 3 generations of the Beal family repairing, replacing roofs on homes and businesses. Read the story at johnbealroofing.com. And when you need roofing help, support my sponsor, John Beal. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Here's a pretty simple question. When it comes to exercising your faith, especially in public, are we more free or less free than before? We're talking about that on Monday.
Mornings starting at 5:30 on News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Got just a few more minutes to go here before we turn things over to the O'Reilly Report, then the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. And as we always do on a Friday afternoon to get you ready for the weekend, we like to lighten the mood, especially after a week like this, Katie, because it's just been
heavy,
a crazy news week. So we always like to have a little Friday fun time at the end of the show on Fridays.
Maybe I ought to leave then.
After
my segment.
I was just going to
Very
say,
educational.
actually, quite the opposite. Great information in that last segment. That's Brian Eggers from Eggers Heating and Air Conditioning in studio with us, sticking around for a little Friday fun time. If you missed any of that last segment, or if you missed any of the show today or this week, make sure you're subscribed to our podcast. The Colombo and Katie Show podcast is on just about every podcast platform there is, including you can just go to our website, newstalkstl.com. You can get our podcast right there off of our show page, Colombo and Katie show page. We put every day's show out as a podcast shortly after we get off the air. So whatever your preferred podcast platform is, just make sure you're subscribed to Colombo and Katie, and you'll never miss anything that happens here. You can also watch us every day on the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel while supplies last, and on the News Talk STL Rumble page and the News Talk STL Facebook page. Did I get everything?
All those things. Perfect.
Got it? All
Perfect.
right. All right, let's get into a little Friday fun time. Anybody McDonald's fans? I love McDonald's.
Oh,
I'm not afraid to.
I love
I'm not
I
afraid.
do too, unfortunately.
Not
If
afraid
you
to
looked
admit
at me
it.
recently, I love it a little too much.
I love
sometimes.
McDonald's. Best fries ever.
Well, a
Ever.
chef is going viral big time on TikTok because he is a former McDonald's corporate chef. And he just put out a video that's gotten tens of thousands, up to hundreds of thousands of views now, on how to tell if your local McDonald's is a good one.
Oh, boy.
Oh, God. What are the... I don't know. Should
Oh,
we hear
boy.
this? I don't want it to ruin my experience.
He says, go into your local McDonald's at peak time, so heavy lunch rush or heavy dinner rush. Again, this guy is a former corporate chef at McDonald's. He said, you need to go in and order 10 quarter pounders with cheese. And you could add and change some things to those burgers as well. So order, this is his hack. This is his advice on how to tell if your McDonald's is a quote unquote good one. Go in at the busiest time of the day, order 10 quarter pounders with cheese. Feel free to customize.
This is cruel.
Several
I already
of them.
hate this.
And he says a good McDonald's location can produce a large amount of quarter pounders successfully during their busy hours, and that includes some special orders as well. He says, quote, if you can get your complete order in under 5 minutes and all of the ingredients or adjustments that you requested are accurate, you are at a good McDonald's. If not, you should probably find a new one. I have news.
Is this guy still working for the corporate office?
Yeah.
Everybody
Fake
go to
news.
McDonald's and spend $40 to
Yeah.
find out if
Yeah,
your
good
McDonald's
point.
is
He
good.
did say to get some. He
freaking
did say
point.
to get some friends, like it's gonna because it's
Yeah.
gonna be a little pricey. Like get some friends and do it. I will say this: I don't think under these parameters, I don't think I've ever been to a good McDonald's.
No.
I wouldn't trust any McDonald's I've ever been to get at rush time.
No.
To get 10 burgers that have different ingredients on them, all right, in less than 5 minutes.
And my
Maybe I just
definition-
haven't been to the right McDonald's.
My definition of good is so different than that. I also qualify good fast food no matter where with customer service.
Customer service and how clean is the
Yeah, and how
restrooms
clean,
and
like all of
the
that plays
lobby.
into that.
Yeah.
Like if there's like ketchup everywhere and like miscellaneous fries and people have attitude, I'm out. I don't care how freaking good the McDonald's is. Bye.
I've heard every crazy thing in the drive-through line that you
Yeah.
can. I've had, welcome to wherever, because it's not just McDonald's, it's all of them.
Everywhere.
Like welcome to so and so. We don't have any cheese. Like that's the beginning
have
of it.
any
Be forewarned.
Yeah.
No
Welcome to
bacon.
so and so. There's no. We don't have any. The fryers are broken.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Our
Yeah.
ice cream
I've
machine's
heard
down.
it
Always.
Yeah. Oh, that's
That's like
Yeah.
Always.
Try to
instead
get a
of
shake
billions
after
served,
9 o'clock.
there should be the golden arches with a sign that says,
Yeah.
"Don't order an ice cream; it's broke."
If anybody tries the hack, let us know if you
yeah.
had any good results or not. And we'll know if you have a good McDonald's or not. Speaking of food, I don't know if this is good and I don't know if this is fun either, but we're going to talk about it now. The U.S. government is approving lab-grown meat sales to the public
Oh, come on. What
for
is
the
that?
first time
Is this good?
in American history.
What?
Cultivated meat products, Upside Foods, and Good Meat received approval from the Department of Agriculture this week to begin commercially selling their chicken products. Upside Foods wrote on social media in all caps, "The day has finally arrived. We are approved to sell our cell-cultivated chicken in the United States."
In other words, flesh, protein, whatever you want to call it, that has been grown in a gigantic petri dish.
Yeah, lab.
Yum.
It's funny that on one hand they're like eliminate anything that has to do with like clean minerals or whatever, but also simultaneously let me sell you this lab-made chicken.
Real
and
question.
eat it.
Real
Like,
question. And I might have to ask my daughter, who is a vegetarian, this if it's real meat grown from real cells, but it's lab grown. You're not killing a chicken or a cow. Can a vegetarian eat that?
I bet the answer is no. I bet it's no.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet it's no because
I bet it's no also.
The cell was harvested from an animal.
Oh yeah, man! I thought that they were targeting. I mean, one because of whatever, but I thought some of this was targeting vegetarians, vegans, like the Impossible Burger. You know,
that's targeting people who aren't really in it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like the ones that are doing it because it's part of the
the
cause
thing.
celeb. But
like my daughter would say that real meat, quote unquote real meat, would like make her sick at this point. Like it's a health thing. Like it's not. It's not just the animal.
I think
thing. There's other...
eating some chicken that was grown in a dish makes me sick. Actually, to think about that.
Same.
I am fascinated with AI. It's one of my latest obsessions. Just everything surrounding how crazy AI is.
Well, enjoy it while you can, because it's going to be terrible.
I know.
Later.
Oh, no, I know. I didn't say I'm fascinated in a positive way.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like I could dive down the AI rabbit hole
forever.
I could just get lost and have gotten lost. Here's a news story in that area. AI has created the perfect pizza. A Detroit-based chain, Jeff's Pizza, enlisted an AI-powered chatbot to create the quote truly most delicious pizza combination. And here's what the artificial intelligence came up with. Taking in all of its vast knowledge of the human
taste bud
species and and what people like. This is the pizza that AI created as the perfect pizza. It's a ranch veggie pizza topped with ranch as the sauce, mozzarella cheese, feta, mushrooms, onions, green peppers, black olives, and tomatoes.
Where's the meat?
Is that the perfect pizza?
No, where's the pepperoni?
I feel like that's something that Cyberdyne would have created for the Terminator movies. You know what I mean?
Eat this pizza.
Eat this pizza.
First chink in the armor, Ted. AI is maybe not the smartest thing ever.
And ranch, not sauce?
A ranch veggie pizza.
No.
I don't even need... That's all the explanation I
Imagine
need.
picking up a slice of pizza and having the ranch drip off the thing on your face
No,
and chest.
I need the red sauce.
I'm out.
Same.
That's just disgusting.
All right, that is going to do it for Colombo and Katie this afternoon. Big thanks to Brian Eggers for being in studio with us. CallEggers.com if you are having any trouble with your HVAC system, especially with the hot weather coming our way this weekend. I want to remind you that Colombo and Katie back on Monday at 2 o'clock. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. In the meantime, the O'Reilly Report is next, then the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show, followed by the Larry Connors USA Daily Report. Thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Online, stuff can be tracked really easily. There's proposals to make sure that platforms have databases of this stuff to prove compliance. And even where it doesn't say that, how else are they going to prove compliance except to say, hey, we have their face cams, we have their government IDs, we're good. And it gets more dangerous over time because it's going to go to IP addresses, the stuff that tells you all about you.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 till 9.
On News Talk STL.
Attention. This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now